Have you ever tried to make a movie by yourself? Well, maybe not by yourself, but with a couple of friends. And everything has gone smoothly. It's so easy. Turns out beautifully. Nope. I've tried lots of times and it seldom works out that smoothly. Just recently, I was shooting a short movie for a competition in the United States called Music Bed. And I wanted to, I had a couple of people lined up that were going to come and work with me, and this one fell through, that one fell through, etc. And eventually, I landed up shooting it started shooting 5 hours before the competition was due. Unfortunately, the competition was due at about, 7:59 or something like that in the evening, South African time, which is kind of crazy because normally they have it a minute before midnight. Anyway, we started shooting with these people, and the young gentleman said, look, he would prefer, to talk in Afrikaans. Fine, so I put some subtitles. The upshot was that eventually I got the movie finished, but there were lots of laughs and giggles along the way. It's so funny. You find that when a camera is pointed at people and they start sort of saying lines, which are one-liners, so there was not much to be said, just one-liners, and how often they would burst out giggling and they would forget a couple of lines, a couple of words, and much laughter, and they had to go off and look for their kids and etc. And I filmed different things at different stages. I even shot some of the video right here in my garage studio, and I'll show little excerpts of that too. I actually had this little tank, which I think the camera is going to possibly focus in on, and it was quite nice. It was radio controlled. I went to a local Chinese shop, and it featured, it was to do with Ukraine, and if you can see there, that was the Z, which is what they're putting on the Russian tanks to identify them. And we had them use a couple of songs, or some of the music, at least 10 seconds from Music Bed. And I put in 2 different lots. I had to leave one off because it was involving a pub scene where the guy was going to be in the pub talking to his friends and saying, hey, I'm off, and somebody was going to salute. I'd let that go because we just didn't have time. When I made a storyboard, like in the old days, you do a storyboard with drawing. I do a storyboard by taking different little videos, sticking them together and kind of making them into a storyboard, and then I show that to the people and say, okay, this is what I want, or this is how I'd like it to look. In the storyboard I had, and I'll show you the little picture, there was a guy saying hello to his dog, beautiful Labrador. Turned out that the guys I was shooting, they had a dog, but it was a small little corgi, and this thing was all over the place. And in the one scene, where right at the end, you see the dog sitting with the yellow scarf, yellow being the colors worn by the Ukrainians. The dog wouldn't sit still, so I had to zoom in close. The lady was standing behind holding the dog, and he just wanted to get going. He had his ears up, and that was supposed to be looking, waiting hopefully for the owner, the boss, the young man who owned the dog, to return from wherever he went off to. I had to eventually slow it down like crazy in post because the dog was and gone. So I slowed it down. I managed to get his ears sort of lifting up, and I'll put a little clip of that in too. In another instance, we had I had to make a movie. It was I entered a competition for the 48-hour film festival, and in that I had a young man, nice long hair. I envisaged him with a nice hat, and he was going to be like it was titled something to do with a singer, and he had to rock up and come and sing a song, etc. And I shot the video in a local pub. Somebody very kindly let me shoot in the pub. And whenever I turned the camera towards the people, they would all And I thought, wow, so many people want it, or they shouldn't be here, or whatever the case might be. And anyway, the young guy rocked up and he had cut his hair. So all this nice long hair that looked like a future singing star, the hair was gone. And in the little script that I'd written, I wanted the whole outside driveway to be wet. Then I could shine red and blue lights on this and get that sort of, not Raiders of the Lost Ark, I think of the name, I'll put it down below, that with a smoke machine and everything. When I got there and we wanted to start filming, the tap had actually been padlocked, outside, so I couldn't even use the tap. And we eventually, my brother-in-law was climbing up on the roof and throwing buckets of water down and trying to make it look like rain. I had, first time ever, I've had somebody else do the shooting, because I said, hey, who wants to be? And a couple of people volunteered to come and, be with me. One young man, he was going to do the sound, and he rocked up with a huge, big desk, mixing desk and everything, and kind of didn't work properly. And then when we were doing that sort of the water sequence, obviously we were trying to throw buckets of water over the tar to create that look, with a smoke machine hidden away behind the back. No, water and actual proper hose pipe with a lot of water. No, it would have been so much different. When it came to shooting the movie about sort of Ukraine, etc., and the man going off to war, I tried a green screen, and I tried to superimpose some images on that, and war-torn buildings. Couldn't quite get it to work, so I just took a old piece of wood that was lying in a garage, and I used that and drilled a couple of holes in it, and had my guy sort of peeping through it to try and create an impression of an old building. Drilled a few holes. I don't have any new weapons, but I had this lying around. It's one of those old things, a play gun or BB gun, I'm not quite sure. But when I dropped it in the flames, it did burn a little bit because it's all plastic, but it kind of worked. And then I couldn't get any weapons to look more realistic. So when I was doing the shooting, when I was the baddie, when I bought the tank, I also got hold of this thing. It was a toy gun. It does sort of, you put a battery in it, it does all kind of funny things. And I just had my character use it, pow, 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 sort of thing, just to try and, and of course, obviously in editing, you add some flames to it, etc. So I was hoping that, the tank and the gun would create that sort of feeling. But as I said, when I filmed myself doing it, I forgot to put the smoke machine on. A friend of mine pointed out to me when he was watching the movie, he said, why does yours look so clear and that you've got a lot of smoke on all the other scenes? I said, well, one man show, I forgot to press the button that made the smoke machine work, and the smoke machine lies right here next to me, and I was standing just behind, pretending that I was shooting. Okay, so it doesn't always work out the way you want. The little epaulet, in the epaulet, the guy was wearing a little piece of cloth with orange and black, and I picked up when I was doing some research that this was sort of the enemy at that stage, and I wanted to show that I was the enemy. Bought 2 little pieces of cloth also at the China shop, and I went off and a local tailor, I had him just stitch them together for me. Now wrapped it around here. Then of course the yellow scarf and the yellow armband, also pieces of cloth that I tore and stuck on. When I was filming the gun falling, bang on the ground, when the tank shot the good guy, it was so difficult to try and get this silly thing to fall in exactly the right spot where the focus was with the different. For the flames, I took some steel wool, chucked a bit of not lighter fluid, but some fluid for one of those lamps, you know, that you put stuff on and you burn it at night, brrr, Hawaiian kind of thing. And it took me a long time. That's why this poor little gun got so burnt that I had to try and make that happen. But it just shows you all these little things that go into making movies, and actually makes it a lot of fun. At the end, when you look at it, I kind of really like the little movie with the sound, the music and everything. Obviously, it's never what you imagine it to be. When I was shooting a little short video in America, I came up with a story idea, and I knew a guy that said, hey, can we come and play? And he brought a whole cast of people, and they're very, very good actors and everything. And I said, look, in one of the scenes, I wanted a hospital scene. He said, no problem, boom. And he organized in a hospital. We actually shot a scene in a hospital. And, you know, there was a guy with a stethoscope with a white jacket and lady lying in a proper hospital bed. It was so cool. I mean, I'll chuck that little thing in too that we can see. You know, it was so fun. So if you can surround yourself with those kind of people that, you know, are keen and want to get involved, makes life so much easier. But anyway, I've spoken enough, said enough about the fun, the joy, the hazards of trying to make a movie. It's great fun. You know, you go through life. Life is like that. I mean, life is never perfect. And the couple of little problems I've got are nothing compared to the problems that exist in the world at the moment. So in the meantime, I will be continuing to have fun with the camera, and I hope that you like this little video. If you do, there's a little red button on the side that says subscribe. No, it's just the little red button. It doesn't say subscribe, but you press that and you might be able to get lucky and see me make a couple more of these. I've got 960 something or 940 something followers. Once I get to 1,000, then I can start monetizing this channel, my channel, Richard van Skalkwyk. And, you know, who knows, maybe one of these days I'll be one of the old guys with lots of followers that can actually make some money out of YouTube. Because all the videos so far are made by, I'm going to say youngsters, but I'm not talking about the TikTok generation, because those are all really, really young people doing it. In fact, some of them are very, very good. I mean, I'm so impressed by what they produce. But the other guys, you know, the Peter McKinnons and, you know, that type of thing, Devon Supertramp, you know, I've copied some of his stuff too, Sliding Down a Mine Dump in Krugersdorp. Some of those guys now got 4 or 5 million followers. And this is it. They can make a living out of that, doing that. And one of the things that I laugh most about is in the beginning, they all come running up. They had the camera parked low on the ground, and they would come running up and, hey, and bend down and look at the camera and talk. Dude, if I tried to do that and I went running up and looked in the camera, I would struggle like crazy to get back up again. But anyway, I hope you liked the video. As I say, please like and subscribe. Action. Action means just action.
Ek het jou lief. Kan jou oupa se gees voel? Moenie lag nie, so.
Action.
Ek het jou lief. Kan jou oupa se gees nie Frank.
Sorry. Action.
Ek het jou lief. En ek kan jou oupa se gees voel in hierdie kamer. Jy gaan moet gaan.
Action.
Ek het jou lief. Ek kan jou oupa se gees in die kamer voel. Jy gaan moet gaan.
Action.
Ek het jou lief. Ek kan jou oupa se gees voel in die kamer. Jy gaan wag.
Bietjie langer. Vat bietjie meer dat jy hom kan blaas, laat ek sien.